Yo, what is up, guys? Moxsy here, another Borderlands 3 video, and today we got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. We are here with my updated shock and awe build. You guys really like this build. Last night we were doing some test running time trials in Slaughter Shaft with different variations of the shock and awe build, and testing that against my Breakneck Banshee build, another really popular build. And I can say that the shock and awe build outperformed the Breakneck Banshee build. So today we are going to be updating that, improving it, and making it even faster for you guys. Real quick, before we get into the video, I need to say two things. One, I have a Twitter and an Instagram, and I really haven't been using it very much. And that's my bad. Some of you have found me there and followed me, and I just haven't been putting out much stuff on those. But just letting you guys know that we are going to be a lot more proactive on our Twitter and our Instagram. If you're interested in seeing my reactions from my live streams, what's going on in my life, and tweeting out opinions and funny things about Borderlands, that'll all be on my Twitter and Instagram. So make sure to check me out there. I really do appreciate it. The links will be in the bottom. And yeah. Also, the Halloween event is coming up tomorrow, so we're going to be covering that like crazy. We'll be live streaming it, we'll be speed running it, we'll be doing all different builds, but there's going to be a lot of enemies there, and if you guys want to kill them all the fastest and most efficiently, this is the build you should be using. This is the best mobbing build that I have come up with, and it is absolutely insane. We just cleared the Slaughter Shaft in under 17 minutes with it. No BS tricks, glitches, hacks, just pure, unadulterated damage. Alright, so, big update to the build is, so, how we're going to cover this is, I'm going to show you guys what you need to be essential to this build, and what you need, or what you can aim for, and what your goal should be for endgame gear, and, yeah. This build performs really well without some of the perfect gear that I have, but just to give you guys an inspiration, we're going to be showing that gear, and I'll tell you skill point-wise and gun-wise what you should be aiming for. So, the biggest, or not the biggest, but one of the changes to this build is we're going to be using, we have two different Brainstormers here, both with bonus, next two mags are going to be doing bonus corrosive damage and bonus incendiary damage. This is crazy, and we're going to be taking the utmost full advantage of these next two bonus magazines, and I'll show you guys how. But the idea with this build is that we are going to be hitting enemies with the lightning tendrils, but we're going to be hitting them with 3 elements all the time. So, for example, we're going to be using Infusion. Infusion works as intended when you're not matching elements. So, for example, with this gun, the redundant Brainstorm is going to have bonus corrosive damage. So we're going to spec Infusion into fire damage. Now when we shoot, we're going to be doing lightning damage or electric damage, corrosive damage, and fire damage. And this is insane and adds to the melting that this build can do. And we're going to be pimping that dot damage out even further and showing you guys how to utilize those 3 elements the most. So, these are 2 guns. Yo guys, real quick, I forgot to mention this in the video, but between redundant and cash infused, a lot of you guys ask me which one I prefer, which one's better, which one should I keep, which one should I let go of, and I had 2 answers for that. One, the cash infuse is going to do less damage. It's just going to hit less pellets, but the amount of lightning tendrils that proc off of your shooting is not reliant on the pellets that are hitting enemies, from what I can tell. Obviously slightly hard to test, but I haven't noticed a big difference between the amount of pellets that are hitting with the cash infused, or the amount of lightning tendrils coming off the cash infused or the Brainstormer. As I said before, those lightning tendrils are the majority of our damage, so when it really boils down to it, there isn't going to be much of a difference. However, the redundant is going to be doing more single target damage, That's just effect, is more damage on it, but you're consuming 2 ammo per shot. So if you're struggling with ammo, if you're doing Slaughter Shaft and you're having trouble with ammo, then I would use the Cash Infused. But if you're not having issues with ammo, if you're running something like more like a Proving Grounds or something where their ammo is more readily available, I would be using a redundant. That is my answer. Back to the video. We have the sellout on. Honestly, guys, this build doesn't need an elemental projector. You don't need the sellout. If you watch the gameplay, I used it sometimes, but obviously we'll be doing more damage when we shoot ourselves with the sellout, but it isn't required. You guys will kill things just fine without it. If you don't like the kind of playstyle, you don't need to use it. Genuinely, it isn't necessary, but if you're trying to max your damage, you would do this. And then for our last gun, for melting single target enemies, we have the Lenoge, my new favorite single target melting gun. Last night in last night's stream, we did get this more Lenoge with 300% weapon damage. Absolutely insane. We got it out of a Proving Grounds chest, and I actually freaked out. And we also now are using a Primordial Phaserker class mod with +5 into Anima. Now, this is another non-essential part of the build. You can use any Phaserker. You should use a Phaserker for sure. You should aim for a Phaserker with grenade damage, or sorry, shotgun damage, like this one. The Entranced Cosmic Phaserker with shotgun damage, COV weapon damage. This would be great for us with the Lenoge and the Brainstormers. But to absolutely maximize our damage, you guys are going to be looking for a Primordial Phaserker with shotgun damage, weapon damage, Hyperion damage, and I'll explain why. So the points that the Phaserker boosts are Clarity, Anima, and Conflux. If you guys don't know, if you haven't seen my previous videos, or haven't heard me say this before, Conflux is a set dot. Conflux will do around 300 damage to enemies that are weak to the dot that's being done, and about 100 to non-weak things, like so shock on flesh will be doing about 100 damage per second. That's really weak and not helpful for us at all. So we don't need points in Conflux. Instead, we're going to get these points in Anima. 10 out of 5 points is crazy helpful because we're going to be hitting enemies constantly with 3 damage types. So we're going to be corroding, electrocuting, and igniting enemies all the time. And this is going to make when we light ourselves on fire, it's going to last for like 20 seconds. So that's like a 20-second damage buff with 90% increased damage. It's crazy. So don't need this, but if you can get your hands on one, you're going to be doing a lot more damage. We're grabbing Infusion to convert the damage. Tempest is going to boost our shock damage. We're going to be doing shock damage and fire damage and corrosive damage. So this is going to boost our damage like crazy. Dread for the gun damage while they're grassed. Magazine size, super important here. So the next 2 magazines are going to do bonus damage. And because our next 2 magazines are going to do bonus damage, the bigger the magazine, the more damage we can dish out. That 20% magazine size is even better because our Elemental Projector Auto Idol has plus 40% magazine size. We got plus 17% shotgun damage and incendiary damage. This is a pretty perfect rolled Elemental Projector. It's going to restore our health after we kill an enemy, giving us even more tankiness. In the Shock and Awe build, we were using an Electric Banjo. If you guys don't have something like this relic, the Electric Banjo is still great. It's still going to give us shock damage and electrocute chance, which is really nice. But if you're looking for the best gear possible, you're going to be looking for like an Elemental Projector Victory Rush. Like this one would do really nice for us as well, with shotgun damage and shock damage and more movement speed and damage. What whatever fits your fancy. So far, this is the best thing that I found for this build, so I would use that. Shield doesn't matter that much. As you guys know, I like the recharger. Anointed, unanointed, whatever floats your boat. This will keep us alive real nice. Then we're using sustainment to heal off of our damage. Our damage is going to be absolutely crazy, and so the more damage that we can do, the more healing we're going to get, which is great. And then forceful expression to add even more bonus elemental damage on top of everything. Absolutely crazy damage that we're going to be getting. In the blue tree, the blue tree and the green tree were what I've struggled with the most. I tested this on stream for a few hours, and I tested this on my own for the past like 4 hours. And these points do matter, but they are up to you. So I went back and looked at my playstyle and how I was using this build and saw what I was benefiting from and what I wasn't benefiting from. Originally, we had points in Transcend because accuracy and critical hit damage is really nice. But when I watched my gameplay, I was basically just running up to things and barrel stuffing them and trying to land as many shots as the Brainstormer on them as possible. I wasn't really aiming for heads. If you guys are going to be aiming for heads, you can do this, but our damage doesn't come from the Brainstormer's pellets. The damage comes from the chains. The chains are going to be doing 3 elemental damage types and be doing a lot more damage than our actual bullets. And for this reason, we don't care that much about this crit damage. So what I did instead was we got Restless for that action skill cooldown. In the gameplay video in the beginning, I was saving and quitting. We did not have glitched cooldowns. Those were our natural cooldowns. Still really, really fast with this, which is super nice. We're getting Do Harm to do more damage to enemies while they're locked. Getting that reload speed. This 1 point and this 1 point here are just nice to have. We're going to be getting full stacks, full rush stacks with them. Plus our Phase Zerker, we're going to be having 15. So these bonuses are really nice to have, and it's sad to miss out on them. We're grabbing Ascendant so that things are locked up in the air more. And the Brainstormer works really well with this build, and the reason I came back to the Shock and Awe build is because I was using the Brainstormer on Zane, and it just wasn't hitting nearly as hard. It wasn't doing the crazy damage that I was used to seeing with the Brainstormer, and it made me really curious why. Obviously, AMARA boosts some elemental damage skills that Zane doesn't, but enemies are going to be having these electric chains proccing back and forth between them, absolutely shredding them, but they're also going to be sharing the damage, and so if they're already taking damage back and forth, then that damage is going to be shared back and forth, and just end up melting anything while Ties That Bind is active, and healing us for a ton because we're going to be hitting so many enemies. So all of this is super, super nice. Like I said, I was running up and barrel stuffing a lot of enemies, and so I grabbed Personal Space. Personal Space is going to help us melt things with the Linoge. If you guys come across an enemy in Slaughter Shaft or whatever, or an anointed enemy, and they're not near anything, this is going to be your go-to gun. This gun will kill things a lot faster than the Brainstormer. As I just said, the Brainstormer is great for packs and mobs. There is no gun that'll kill enemies faster than the Brainstormer and more reliably. Yes, the Unforgiven is a great gun. The Unforgiven is a great gun. You can one-shot whole mobs. You can use a Daisy Monocle, one-shot whole mobs. But for the most reliable, fastest, and safest experience, the Brainstormers are going to be your go-to. And because we're using Brainstormers, we're going to get Personal Space because we'll be up in everyone's face. This Root to Rise is going to give us more health so that we have more health to heal with. And then here, honestly, guys, you can go Helping Hands or you can go Arms Deal. If you're going to be doing Slaughter Shaft, you can go Arms Deal and get away with it because you're going to be getting hit with a lot of splash damage. Helping Hands is nice, If you don't want to grab these cooldown points and you want to get more reload speed, you want to get crit damage, you don't have to rely on helping hands. You could go arms deal, but these 5 points are mainly for Slaughter Shaft, whether we're going into helping hands or arms deal. If you're not running Slaughter Shaft, you're running Proving Grounds, guys. I would put 3 out of 3 here, 2 points here, Root to Rise, just so that we can grab corrosive damage if you're going to need it. You can use this with Infusion with corrosive damage or fire. Having the option to switch between them is really nice, and electric, but we don't want to use electric. But having the option to switch is nice, and if you're not going to put these points here, because we heal off of our damage, going all the way down and getting Wrath is really, really nice. It's going to boost our damage of our Brainstormers like crazy, and you'll kill things faster, but I don't like going down. I don't like dying. Yes, you can super try hard and not die without these points, but for a consistent experience across any gear level, I recommend doing this. I really do. And yeah, it's just been the most consistent that I've found, regardless of what you're doing. If you're gonna glitch your cooldowns by respecking, shame on you for respecking your character, but it will glitch your cooldowns. You don't need this, but for demonstration purposes, we weren't using glitch cooldowns because I can't use them anymore because you guys don't want to see that, and I don't want to use it. So we're getting a cooldown right here. And yeah, that is the build. Absolutely crazy. Give it a try, guys. And you will be moving the fastest through the new DLC faster than anyone else. It is a lot of fun. Also, grenade doesn't really matter. Whatever grenade you want to use is Tamaguchi. And yeah, that was it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, and follow me on the Twitter and the Instagram, because I want to make those more active experiences for you guys and give you guys inside looks at what I'm doing, what I'm working on, and like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, appreciate it so much. Have a good one. Peace out, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.